who could the coach of the year be this season? What are some of the big names that you're looking at? And does it correlate with who your Final Four are?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think you have to tie it together, right? You went with Brian Kelly. You went with LSU. So you got to bet Brian Kelly at plus 800 is a good number. Michigan, I went with Michigan. Jim Harbaugh at 22-1,
Mm-hmm.
good number. So I do think there's a correlation there. You know, I mean, Harbaugh 22-1 now. Probably people say, again, this could be the same argument. Well, you know, the guy got suspended for 3 games. You can't give him the award. All right, you know, you make up the rules as you go along. You know, like what is the comeback player? What is coach of the year? You know, I mean, I don't know. I think what happens if Jimbo Fisher wins 10 games and they're playing? Does he win it? Or does Bobby Petrino win it? I don't know.
I would say that Bobby Petrino would win Assistant Coach of the Year, right? Because I mean that's another one of those national awards. I think that's probably the way that one would go more so than Jimbo. And voters are going to recognize stuff like this too. Or is it a coaching win that he made the right hire personnel wise, right? Like you can make any argument that you want to. I feel like with these things.
Look here, let me give you a little history, and I wrote about this in my book, Football Done Right. You know, Dick Vermeil's in the Hall of Fame. And everybody loves Dick Vermeil, and he's a wonderful man. But John Shaw, the president of the Los Angeles Rams, or the St. Louis Rams, I'm sorry, at the time, said, you either hire Mike Martz or I'm firing you. Mm-hmm. His first 2 years in St. Louis was a disaster. And he said to him, you either hire Mike Martz or I'm firing you. He didn't want to hire Mike Martz. I got Al Saunders. I got all my guys here. Jerry Rome. I'm not hiring him. Either you hire him or you're fired. And that hire got him in the Hall of Fame because he won that Super Bowl. Because when he went to Kansas City, it wasn't, it was one and done. It was a playoff and they were out. So that was never good. That Super Bowl got him in the Hall of Fame. And it was that hire that got him in the Hall of Fame. So, again, transitioning to A&M, could that mean A&M's better? I do. Yeah. I find it hard to believe that Steve Sark's 12-1. Do you think he could really win it? I mean, his odds are incredible.
Well, and you see another coach that's right behind him on the odds board, your favorite, James Franklin, 15-1. Yeah. So, so my thought process, and you have to, this will go back to like, okay, is Texas back? Is Texas going to have an undefeated regular season? Are they going to win?
Texas back is like the Trey Lance conversation. Can we not keep talking about it? It's really.
Listen, this is the stuff that the people are saying, and I've got to make sure that our audience is understanding our concepts here. But Michael, when it comes to Sark, like I was looking through some of the previous winners over the last decade, and there are themes that come with this. It's a team that at most, it appears, is losing one regular season game or losing a conference championship game. There's a string of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight seasons where it was an undefeated team that ends up going on to either competing for a national championship or playing in one. So do you think that Texas is going to be one of those teams that has an undefeated season, runs through this, and finds themselves in the CFP? If the answer is no, it's a sucker bet. Don't place it, right? But I think that does open up the argument for some of these coaches. So Kirby Smart, we talk about TCU's head coach Sonny Dykes winning last year. Kirby Smart in Georgia very well could have been there had it not been the turnaround element for a program like TCU, right? An undefeated season from day one to the final day of the year en route to their second national championship. They do that again. Hard to make an argument against a guy like Kirby Smart, especially when you have so many rebuilding pieces. You said Brian Kelly, that's a name I like. Mike Norvell at Florida State. Are they going to overtake Clemson and Dabo Swinney's group this year in the ACC and make a name for themselves? Ryan Day, another situation where you have a new starting quarterback, 12-1 with Kyle McCord stepping in. Could they be the one that goes undefeated in the Big Ten? I had James Franklin in my Final Four, so I don't hate 15-1, but I can't help, Michael, but looking at that 4-14 combined record against Michigan and Ohio State and the record they have against top 10 teams and the record they have against top 5 teams, if they are able to turn the dial, hallelujah, James Franklin, I don't know. But 15-1 is not nearly enough for me to get involved with him.
All right, so I think what you have to do here is tie this to returning players, right? Now, Michigan has 13 returning starters from last year. Florida State has 16. Mm-hmm. I think when you correlate the number with the coach, if you think they're good, especially if the quarterback's coming back, J.J. McCarthy certainly is there. So you got that when you can put those dynamics into play, and you think the team's going to really do well. I think you got a case. You could make the case for it. I really do. I think that's you got to tie those variables together. I think to really give yourself something to stand on.
Yeah, it's this awards market is very interesting because it's like it's just so dictated on week in, week out success. You have to have an undefeated season or at most one loss, it appears, for this. So when you're looking for one of these bets, you have to find the value. Is it more valuable to take this coach versus this team for a certain bet? And seeing like Wisconsin 18-1 Luke Fickell, Washington 20-1 Kalen DeBoer. Are they going to have this undefeated season? I don't know. It's tough to tell.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.